طقون بخابروا يا زمين يا زمين.
Comes away.
طقون بخابروا يا زمين.
Central Command delivering devastating blows against Iran. Targets include missile and drone facilities, coastal surveillance sites, and air defense. B-1 bombers tore into the mullahs for the first time since the ceasefire. The long-range jets packed with 2,000-pound bombs flying at the speed of sound. Our electronic warfare aircraft also headed into theater, deployed out of Maine. They're stopping over in the UK. And it jams enemy communications, radars, and navigation. And they're only in the fight when it's a real one. Once Iran caught wind, they threatened to bomb the British base. Good luck. Our F-16 Wild Weasels are back in action. Their motto, first in, last out. You fly into enemy territory, detect radars, destroy them, and clear the battle space for everybody else. Trump wants revenge.
Karachi, their foreign minister, who the other day say or something about their policies, an eye for an eye. The president's policy is a head for an eye. I mean, honestly, that's what it's going to be. I mean, they will pay a very heavy price.
Marco says the mullahs are on their knees and begging anybody with a pulse to bail them out.
I hope that they'll stop. They shouldn't really do that. They got suckered into this by the Iranians. You know, the Houthis largely were smart and stayed out of all this throughout the conflict. But they now apparently have gotten themselves suckered into this, going after Saudi Arabia and their ships. And by the way, that's, you know, I was reading reports a few hours ago that.
See, all right, so first and foremost, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yehoshai, Ba'ashem Kokodash. We say double and support and love of great Muslim Rubal, our teachers, our person in shoot, and we say salutations, so the Akim, say the push with the truth and sincerity, day in and day out, and constantly in season on a season, we say Shalom. And once again, going into a video here, and this touching upon some breaking news, right? You know, this was posted an hour ago. This one here was posted 56 minutes ago. Let me just run through some of the pages here to show you, while people in bed. It's 11:28 p.m., which part I'm situated. I know obviously it's nighttime for many places, and while it's nighttime for us, war is breaking out on the other side of the world, right? While it's sleeping in a bed, things are being bombed up, right? So it's Iran rejects U.S. ceasefire proposal. U.S. President Trump has lost faith in the diplomacy. And is in revenge mode against Iran, right? You just heard it on the video that I played at the beginning as well, right? Let's see, Iran sees U.S. is fueling the conflict by using Iranian seized assets, right? There's another thing as well, right? This was the same video that I just played, where it's a U.S. B-1 bombers dropped 2,000-pound bombs on Iran, right? I believe earlier today. Let me see if I get it here. While I'm looking for this particular news, I would like to bring forward the scripture here. This is the book of Sirach, chapter 39, verse 1. It says, "But he that giveth his mind to the law of the Most High, and is occupied in the meditation thereof, will seek out the wisdom of all the ancient and be occupied in prophecies." And that's how we're supposed to be right now. Occupied in prophecies. Hey, that is why you always want to be on the watch. You don't want to be asleep at all. Always watch, always paying attention to what is going on around you. Because just like bombs dropping, if you actually pay attention to where these bombs are actually dropping, they're hitting basically some important places like oil refineries, water distillation plants. They're hitting energy sectors and so forth, which is causing a trickle-along effect, right? Which is actually harming the economy. So that is why you're seeing statements like this. Russia's Kirill Dmitriev says we will see the highest oil prices in history of humanity. The energy crisis tsunami is coming. It's on its way, and continually people have been warning about that energy crisis. Right, you've seen plenty of these major countries talking about or preparing the citizens for days of darkness or the increase of oil, electricity, and many other stuff that come with energy, right? Or they might have to actually, certain days, they might have to actually cut off the electricity. And you see what's going on with the heat waves and all this other stuff. Imagine these places that getting these heat waves or some of these other disasters that they can't get the one thing that's actually helping them, you know. So the scriptures say, and it say, and want and be occupied and be occupied in prophecies, right? Because all these things we see in his prophecies, as the scripture mentioned, the wars, the rumors of wars. Let's go to a quick scripture here. This is the book of 2nd Ezra chapter 9, and now let's go straight to the point. Where the scripture say what? For like us all that is made in the world had the beginning and an end, and the end is manifest. So the end is being made manifest, being made more plain and evident. You know, whereas you can come on the news right now and watch how much news you see in the span of, you know, just a couple of hours, minutes, right? You seen videos, bomb dropping, you seen things about pestilences, diseases, you know, earthquakes, you know, and right here in the island of Trinidad, you know, we went through like, I believe it was like 2 days ago, we went through like 3 earthquakes in a span of like some minutes, right? And that has never happened before, ever, right? In no time in history has this particular part of the world experienced this amount of earthquakes ever before. No, well, I should say as recorded, right? As recorded. So again, the end is being made manifest. So that we say, even so, the times also the highest of plain beginnings and wonder and powerful works and endings in effects and signs, right? So that is what it say, and endings in effects and signs, and we see in these signs being played out right before our eyes, right? We've seen the bombs being dropped, we've seen the wars, the rumors of wars, again the pestilences. Let's go up and type in how much diseases, right, being spread, right? We've seen famines. The scriptures talk about famines, just like this here. Don't get tired. Just because he's saying an energy crisis, remember, energy has a major impact in society today. Basically, everything that you use runs on this energy, right? That we say an energy crisis. Let's see if I get a little information here. So it says the warning aligns with current U.S.-Iran tensions, attacks on shipping and threats. Matter of fact, what I want to do, let me see if I can get here. Act fast, right? What can happen during an energy crisis? By this crisis, right? Let me see if I can get an answer here. Let's see what Grok has to say. It's a economic impacts. It's a price spikes and inflation. Energy cost surge. It's a $3 to $12 per barrel raise in transportation, manufacturing, and heat expenses. This often triggers broad inflation. You see, U.S. CPI rose sharply in the 1970s and reduces consumer spending, right? So you see what? Transportation. Something was reading, right? And they was talking about how terrible the economy is when it comes to like jobs. Imagine everything raised. You know the kind of impact that is going to cause? Men invading your house and so forth. You know? Because they wouldn't be able to buy food. Right? Sedition. Right? It's a recession risk. Higher energy prices act as a tax on the economy. It said the 1973 embargo contributed to the 1973-75 recession, with falling industrial production that's going on right now that's going on right now, and GDP contraction in many countries. Similar dynamics played out 1979 and contributed to 2023 inflationary pressures. It says sector disruptions, airlines, shipping, agriculture, fertilizers. Now I did a series going into famines, right? And this was something that I talked about, right? Now the scriptures mention the end is being made manifest, right? Now when they go to Matthew 24, it says through the signs, right? When they go to Matthew 24 and they read, let me just go straight on to it's verse 6, right? It say, and ye shall hear of wars and rumors of wars. See that ye be not troubled, for all these things must come to pass. But the end is not yet. The end is not yet. Like, for example, people seeing these little tensions growing on here, like the Middle East and so forth. But this is just the beginning. There's way worse to come, right? It says, for nation shall rise against nation and kingdom against kingdom. And we see that. We see in these nations rising up against these nations. We see in the weak saying they were the strong. Right? They say, and there shall be famines. Now pay attention to the signs that was given unto us. Now if you listen here, sector disruptions, airline shipping, right? Agriculture, fertilizers. Right now there's a shortage of fertilizers causing an impact when it comes to like goods, because now the plants can't grow as they can without the fertilizers, and plenty plants are dying out, right? And then now it have the shipping problems. How food going to be delivered? Right? You see, an energy-intensive industries like steel and chemicals face cost shocks, leading to layoffs, meaning nobody have a job. So now imagine you don't have a job. You don't have food to feed the family. What are you going to do? Second, I just tell you about that. Right? You say bankruptcies or reduced output. It says shortages and rationing fuel lines, odd even purchase days and limits as on gasoline. Electricity blackouts or brownouts occur when power generation, gas, coal, hydro is strained. Heating and mobility issues, homes and businesses cut back on heating/cooling. Travel restrictions or higher costs reduce commuting and freight movement, affecting supply chains. It's a behavioral changes. People shift to carpooling, public transport, smaller vehicles, or energy conservation. Long term, this can accelerate efficiency improvements, right? It's so I'm going on a little bit. It's a inequality amplification. It's a low income households suffer most from heat and fuel poverty, potentially increasing energy poverty rates. Yeah, men who once had ain't gonna have, right? And those who already poor, one, let's imagine gonna get worse. So what you feel gonna happen in that time, right? See if I get a script here quick. This particular scripture looking for 2nd Ezra 15 verse 19, right? It say, and a man shall have no pity upon his neighbor, but shall destroy their houses with the sword and spoil their goods because of the lack of bread. Because of the what? The lack of bread, and for great tribulation, right? So it's going to be very bad in those days, right? It's a public health and environment. Short-term pollution may drop from reduced activity, but coal/oil switching can worsen air quality. Prolonged crisis strain healthcare and food systems via higher costs, right? So it's going to get worse, right? It's going to get very bad, and day by day, day by day this continue, it's going to get very it's going to get worse and worse. That is why you're seeing some of these statements coming out about they're talking about the money, right? Or they're talking about the kind of losses that certain countries are being affected right now, right? So this is some of the news here, right? You see missiles all in the air right now. Missiles all over. Right? That way it's to be occupied in prophecies and to always be on the watch. Right? I'm going to read this one script. I'm going to read this verse here. Say, all these and the big Matthew 24 verse 7, for nation rise against nation and kingdom against kingdom. And there shall be famines and pestilences and earthquakes in diverse places. He said, all these are the beginning of sorrow. So this is what just the beginning, right? This is just the beginning. It's going to get worse, man. Right? They say this is something I see since earlier today. $100 oil is back. Brent crude oil prices are now officially trading above 100 per barrel. So you see, it continues to raise, a spike in increases. You see, inflation expectations and interest rates are rising sharply again. And if you know anything about the market is being manipulated right now. You know, it's they're trying to tell you the market is good, but it's not good, right? So, hey, once again, I give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Ba'Shem Yoshai, Ba'Shem Kakadash. We said that on Sapasa, Elos, a great Muslim Rubel, our teachers, our personal shoot. And we say salutations, so they can say the push on truth and sincerity. Day in and day out, on a constant day in season or season, we say Shalom.